money was based on weight, I wouldn't mind not dieting so much. But the fact is that when we came to power in 2007, we passed a bill within 2 months to regulate Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac in conjunction with the Bush administration and did everything people wanted. It was the bill that didn't pass for 12 years when I was in the minority. Secondly, we passed a bill during the summer to regulate subprime mortgages. Because we did, Mr. Bernanke, a much better chairman of the Federal Reserve, apparently his London controllers allowed him to do this, Mr. Bernanke promulgated some rules to ban subprime mortgages. We won't have them going forward. But now we have to do the next step. Yes, we have had this problem of unregulated investment banks, hedge funds, and private equity. Again, in the minority, many Democrats try to change that. I voted against the bill that Bill Clinton and the Congressional Republicans passed, the Gramm-Leach-Bradley Act in 1999, when they collaborated in too much deregulation. I opposed it. I was overridden because the notion that Bill Clinton and the Republicans together, when they were in the majority, were going to be stopped by the Democrats is laughable, whether he says it or anyone else says it. If you look at the record, it's only when we came back into power in 2007 that we, for the first time, limited CEO compensation legislatively, regulated Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, and stopped subprime mortgages. Going forward, unlike Mr. Sholley, I want more government regulation. I don't want hedge funds and investment banks and others running wild.
Thank you. Ms. Allen. You know, we'll get a chance to applaud everyone in a minute.
The $700 billion bailout, I allege is high treason. And Mr. Frank here engineered that bill. Now, there is no constitutional authority that exists to require U.S. taxpayers to bail out the bad debt of foreign investment houses. We fought the Revolutionary War 200 years ago to get out of paying foreign taxes. That law has no legal standing because there wasn't 3/4 state legislatures' ratification of that bill. And given it violates constitutional law, it's void. Now, it is the job of Congress to set the valuations of our currency. It's the job of Congress to determine when our currency is being counterfeited. This government does not issue our currency. Our currency is being issued in London. They also have control over our specie, our gold and silver. Now, that does not support the interests of U.S. citizens. And so I'm recommending that we move into a hard currency, silver. You can still use your checks, you can still use your currency, but each note should be an independent U.S. note, and it should have a gram weight on it, a gram weight that will enable you to go to the bank and redeem it in either silver and gold. Because what is a note but a promissory note? And a promise must be kept. If you're going to go and buy wedding rings, would you go and after they were sized and you came to pick them up, they told you that, I'm sorry, we've had some difficult financial times. I'm going to let you wear the note and we'll keep the rings for safekeeping right here. If you had put your fur coat for storage and you came to pick it up and they told you that you'd have to hold on to the note for another year because they had to sell your coat, would you accept that? I don't think so. And the American citizens have been defrauded. I ask you to stand up against this fraud. Thank you.
Mr. Sholley.
Thank you. Barney Frank is a social engineer who forced lenders to make bad loans. He's a member of the Progressive Caucus in Washington. He is a poster boy for big government. Now it's the financial crisis. In 1989, it was a Frank Amendment. Over a period of 20 years from 1981 to 2001, Mr. Frank single-handedly gutted the immigration and naturalization laws of this country that allowed 16 of the 19 hijackers to get into this country. He voted against the Amber Alert Bill, one of only 25 members of Congress, House and Senate, out of 535 to vote against it, the only one in the Massachusetts delegation to do so. He wants hate crimes legislation, but he hates the Boy Scouts of America. This Eagle Scout, and I think we have a few others in the room, we've never really heard anybody else hate such a revered institution. He is like Nero playing the fiddle while our institutions burn. His priorities are internet gambling and decriminalizing small amounts of medical marijuana. His committee had the most jurisdiction because they are representatives of the people. The voters trusted him to do the right thing, and Mr. Frank let them down. He refuses to accept responsibility for any of the mess that he has created. The most blatant excuse of all is this one. He has repeatedly said that in 2005, the House passed a bipartisan bill to reform Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. Chairman Frank says that he worked closely with former Republican Chairman Mike Oxley to get it passed, but the White House gave it the single finger salute. That's Mr. Oxley. Mr. Frank said that the White House bill got behind it and it died in the Senate. Well, here's the real truth. 209 Republicans voted for it. 122 Democrats voted for it. In the Mass delegation, 5 voted yes, 5 voted no. Barney Frank, the ranking member of the committee at the time, voted nay. In the Senate committee, all the Republicans voted for it. None of the Democrats voted for it. Because of Chris Dodd and other Democrats who failed to come up before the full Senate, and it died. The New York Times referred to this proposal in 2003 when they said that the only meaningful proposal to reform Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac came out of the White House. Government has gotten too big, too powerful, and too intrusive. The first maxim of law is that it should do no harm. These grandiose schemes will harm those the most who they were supposed to help. Resign, Mr. Chairman, for the good of the country. Shame on you for enabling this crisis and then trying to deceive the American people. You now have the gall to claim that you will solve the crisis through more regulation when you blocked every effort to reform your cash cows. Resign your chair and let others fix what you have broken.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Hold on, you guys will get your chance. You guys will get your chance. I want to thank, before we get to the applause, I want to thank all the students and staff at Wellesley who on a very short notice put this together. Especially the students and the committee who worked on and I also want to thank Mary Ann Hill, who very quickly, and her workers at the Public Affairs Office. And I want to thank the audience for coming out on a beautiful Sunday afternoon. So that concludes our debate this afternoon. On behalf of the entire Wellesley College community, I also want to thank our guests, Susan Allen, Barney Frank, and Earl Sholley. Thank you.